Okay, folks, I wanted to do something interesting for a guitar video, and I hope you like this. And I'm going to put the guitar down for a second, and we're going to get into something that you can practice when you're away from the guitar. It's something you can practice even if you're stuck in traffic, you're riding a bus, or you've got some time to kill, or you're waiting to meet a friend or something like that. And it'll be a really slight, I'm not going to go that deep into it, but it's an introduction to South Indian rhythm. And this is something that I've studied, and learning licks and scales and stuff like that, to me, I almost look at that as landscaping, because you can kind of learn a new lick and then go right to the gig and try out the lick, and it's sort of like something you can see right away. My experience with this South Indian rhythm stuff, it's almost like if learning new information is landscaping, like licks and stuff like this, working on this Indian rhythm stuff is almost like watering the grass, or adding nutrients to the soil or something like that. Like you might water the grass, and I don't know how long it takes, but you're not going to see right away the change in it, But over the next week, the grass will look a lot greener. And I found with this rhythm stuff that even though I didn't try and apply it to licks, and you can certainly do that. I mean, especially when it gets into the 5 and 7 figures, you could come up with licks in 5 and 7. You're more than welcome to do anything with this information. There's no, should or shouldn't do. It's just simply information that I'm presenting to you. But why I do want to put the focus on why I liked it so much and how it helped me grow as a musician. One of those things is polyrhythms, and you'll see when we start to get into these exercises, by saying these syllables, you start to hear polyrhythms, when you put them in 8th notes, triplets, 16th notes, 16th note triplets. And the good thing about polyrhythms is that you're training your ear to hear 2 rhythms at once. And what's good about that is when we play with other people on stage, whether it be duo or trio, by working with polyrhythms, you can start to hear where your time is, and then you can kind of start to hear where the other person's time is. So in that way, you can lock in with somebody better, or maybe they're rushing a little bit or dragging, and you can hear that more, and you can kind of help them along. And I think a band is much better when everyone is a timekeeper, as opposed to just one. Like, usually the drummer gets looked at as, okay, the timekeeper, and then everyone else is sort of like, built upon that foundation. But I really like the concept of sort of everybody being so strong in rhythm and groove that we're all timekeepers. And then when you start to relate to somebody rhythmically, it can make the whole band just sound a lot stronger. So the first thing we'll start with is these syllables in 4, and I'll show you a hand motion for it. This is called keeping the tala, T-A-L-A, and basically it's just 1, your pinky, 2, ring finger, 3, middle finger, 4. And so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the syllables that go along with this are ta, ga, di, mi. And they should be written out there for you. You'll see how to spell those things. And I had a teacher that was against using a metronome while working on this stuff. But again, I don't think there's any should or shouldn'ts with this stuff. To me, I like working with it when you first start to learn it, using the metronome. It keeps you honest. But then what's cool about these exercises, again, is that you can just have an hour drive to a gig or to your job, or going to meet a friend or something like that, and you could just simply practice this stuff in the car. So I have my app, metronome app rigged up here on my phone, and it's at 65. I'm going to take you through quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes, and maybe 16th note triplets if I can pronounce the syllables fast enough. And basically, I'll go through a couple of times of each. And so here we go. Ta, ga, di, mi. 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 Taka di mi, 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 ta. Okay, if your tongue's not twisted up enough, we're going to move on to the 3. And these syllables, it's very simple. Ta, ki, ta. And so you're going to have 2 tas in a row, like ta, ki, ta, ta, ki, ta. And how we do this with our hands, keep the tala with our hands, is a slap, 1, pinky, ring finger. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to bring up a click just so you can hear. And I'm going to try my best to say these syllables. And let's do it. Let's roll. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta. Ta, ki, ta, 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 ta. So again, just to kind of drive home the fact that we're going from quarter notes, eighth notes, triplets, 16th notes. I didn't do 16th notes triplets that time just because I'm a little bit out of practice, but the slower you can make the click, the more metric levels you can take it up to. So now I would like to introduce you to the family of 5. The tala is slap, pinky, ring finger, middle finger, index finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the syllables are ta, di, ki, na, tome. And we'll pull up that click again, and let's just jump right in. Ta, di, ki, na, tome. 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 Okay. You might have noticed when I went from triplets to 16th notes, I kind of came in a little bit too fast with my 16th notes, almost like you're kind of coming off an exit on the highway, and you realize the exit ramp is not as long as you thought it was, and you kind of have to put on the brakes and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And that's a good example of why I still like to practice these exercises, or why I think these exercises are important, is it just can make a person really focus on changing from triplets to 16th notes. And I just wanted to make that point, because even though I've studied this stuff, I'm a little bit out of practice, and I need to get back to it, because my switching between triplets and 16th notes is a little weak. And I just really wanted to make a point of that. Okay, folks, now the last bit of these exercises, I'm going to introduce you to the family of 7. And it's basically the same kind of motion. We're just going to go through all the fingers, and so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't use the thumb in this, so it's basically a slap, pinky, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, pinky, and ring finger again, and that gives us 7. The syllables are the syllables that we said before of 4 and the syllables of 3 smushed together. So it's taka, dimi, takita. And let's get that click rolling. Taka, dimi, takita. 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 Taka, dimi, takita, ta. Okay, so there's an introduction to the South Indian rhythm system. I think why it's important to do those things, more so than just sitting with a metronome and tapping out different rhythms, that's fine. What makes this Indian stuff so cool is that you are saying them with your mouth. You're speaking them. You're saying syllables. And in that way, it's like speaking or singing. And I just felt like when I worked on this stuff, somehow, like watering the grass, the water just seeped into the earth, and it seemed like by speaking these syllables and practicing them, it seeped into my bones deeper than if I was just tapping out rhythms. So I hope that you'll use that, and again, it's a really great exercise to do in the car, especially when you're in traffic. It's like, and then you have a choice of like, am I going to get angry, or I can maybe work on these South Indian rhythm syllables. You know, being angry at traffic, you can't do anything about it. So hang in there when you're in traffic and work on this exercise.